From the KOIN 6 newsroom, this is breaking news.
May Day protests in downtown Portland turned violent when rioters smashed cop cars and damaged storefronts.
Fires burn in the streets as those rioters take buildings and shatter glass.
Police racing in to make arrests, and tonight, a city is picking up the pieces.
By far the worst I've seen with a fire. Who knows how much this is going to cost us all.
Violence in Portland, and at 11 o'clock, good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Jennifer Hoff. Our Cole Miller in the thick of that chaos with a front row seat to the destruction.
Cole's live in downtown Portland. Cole, you were there when a peaceful march turned into a full-blown riot.
Well, Jeff, Jennifer, good evening. This was a whirlwind of an afternoon. And like you said, it did not take long for this protest to turn into that riot. And tonight, the city's still wearing the scars. The city Target here remains boarded up after its windows were smashed. And if we look down here, glass still littering the sidewalks. Now, my photographer, Adam Thompson, and I spent the day marching along with this crowd, capturing the moment things escalated and then came to an end. A few blocks in the distance, a peaceful protest marching near the Morrison Bridge. Children alongside their parents, but then minutes later,
persons who remain upon the roadway are subject to arrest.
Take off your riot gear.
Things taking a sudden turn.
But now is the time to display a show of force.
Police on their loudspeaker, officers in riot gear moving in, saying this permitted march was that no more, that masked protesters had thrown all kinds of objects at them. And then, that sound we've heard so many times before, flashbangs echoing throughout downtown, a fire burning outside Pioneer Place, anything plastic getting thrown in.
All right, hold back, here we go. Okay.
Rushing ahead, police then forcing that crowd to flee. Up the road, more signs, newsstands, and trash thrown into the road. And at the city Target,
And this is exactly what you don't want to see.
large windows crashing down. This man even trying to throw a lit flare inside near the escalators. Across the street, a police SUV serving as a piñata for rioters heavily damaged. Two men clad in black tossing lit flares through the broken back window. Finally then at City Hall, officers using zip ties to detain at least a dozen people, loading some into their patrol cars. This pandemonium on Portland streets lasting roughly 45 minutes before cooling off for the night. All right, now after things wound down there at City Hall, we did see a small group of protesters head over to Central Precinct, the police station here in downtown Portland. They hung out there for a while, exchanged some words with officers, but that was about the unofficial end of everything that we saw today. Live tonight in downtown Portland, Cole Miller, KOIN 6 News.
Some pretty incredible footage there, Cole. Thank you. Our Lisa Balick also out on the streets with the marchers when the damage and destruction started. Here's a look at what she saw.
We found multiple smashed windows at the Gus Solomon Federal Courthouse at one entrance. We walked a little further and found more windows shattered by pieces of concrete lying on the ground. Graffiti is on so many walls of offices, city buildings, and shops in Portland tonight. Here at the Pac West building, an entire side of it spray painted in defiance. We found fires smoldering at several intersections. Newspaper stands, trash cans set ablaze. And even our KOIN 6 news car was hit along both sides, windows, and the hood with spray paint, parked along the park blocks while we marched in the rally. Lisa Balick, KOIN 6 News.
Okay, as of tonight, here is the arrest account. 25 people. You see their mug shots here. Our cameras caught some of them being loaded onto a TriMet bus just outside of Central Precinct downtown. Charges tonight include disorderly conduct, riot, arson, criminal mischief, theft, and assault.
And this was arguably the most destruction Mayor Ted Wheeler has seen under his tenure as head of the city.
And we wanted to hear from the mayor and other city leaders about all this. They're staying quiet, at least for the night. Our Andrew Dimbert live outside City Hall. Has the mayor said anything, Andrew?
Well, Jeff, no, we haven't heard from the mayor, but Portland police had been updating the public and the media from the jump, and not long ago, Police Chief Mike Marshman issued a statement in part thanking officers for their efforts today. More than than 24 people arrested during the May Day PDX riot today. After hundreds of police responded to the destruction, we wanted to catch up with city leaders. Police Chief Mike Marshman had this to say, quote, "I'm very proud of the professionalism of Portland police officers, Portland firefighters, and the members of the other law enforcement agencies that work to keep the peace in downtown Portland under very difficult circumstances." And during the riots, Portland Police Sergeant Pete Simpson said this.
I can't remember a time when we've seen something this violent in Portland. It definitely would go back several years.
As for Mayor Ted Wheeler, he attended a budget meeting at City Hall this morning, but during the protest turned riot, he stayed silent, not commenting or tweeting since that budget meeting. In the waning hours of the riot, we tried him at his house, but we were met by police. They told us Mayor Wheeler was home, spending time with his family. And Jennifer, Jeff, it's likely that we'll hear from the mayor or City Hall sometime tomorrow. Reporting live tonight from City Hall, Andrew Dimbert for KOIN 6 News. Back to you.
I'm sure we will hear from the mayor tomorrow. Andrew, thank you.
And that riot broke out really at the heart of rush hour. Hundreds of people were downtown trying to get home, maybe some were out eating, some shopping, and their reactions to what was happening were very mixed.
I support what they're doing. I don't really support the police. I think they're being kind of aggressive with the people. You know, there are always going to be rogues in the group that are going to destroy things and light things on fire.
A little unsafe, and that I just want to go home soon.
I think it's pretty lame. I mean, it's one thing to have a message and want to spread it peacefully and speak your mind, but what it is these days in Portland is just too much tolerant of, you know, garbage and misbehavior that just seems to get enabled.
And now the cleanup after today's riot is going to take some time. We sent our camera crews back to places hit very hard. Crews were cleaning up glass at the Brooks Brothers store. Also, we found out what's left of some of the burn piles around town, the debris right near Buffalo Wild Wings near Morrison and 4th. And we're working to learn how much it's going to cost to clean this whole mess up.
There was another May Day rally today down in Salem, where close to 1,000 people marched through parts of the downtown, a rather successful rally that started on the Capitol steps. Governor Kate Brown even spoke to the crowd. One focus the marchers wanted to make there was immigration.
I feel like the Trump administration is trying to create fear and silence in the immigrant community, and we're here to say no to that.
Your voice is very important, and I want you to know that I hear you.
The governor went on promising marchers that as long as she's in office, Oregon will be welcoming and inclusive to everybody who calls the state home.
Now, May Day protests traditionally happen every year across the world. In Canada, protesters also clash with police. This is video from Quebec. We know demonstrators threw smoke bombs at police. At least one person was arrested. Thousands marched through the streets of Seattle this afternoon as well. It was mostly peaceful, but we do know 3 people were arrested there. There were also arrests at a march in Olympia as well. And then take a look at the crowds in Los Angeles. Police estimate 15,000 people took to the streets today, many of them with signs, some with drums. They marched for more than 2 miles. There were some scuffles as Trump supporters and protesters clashed.
And we will continue, of course, to follow up on the fallout of today's riot, just like we brought you coverage all afternoon. You can look for updates here on KOIN, and as always, online at KOIN.com.
Now, in a crime alert, Vancouver police need your help looking for a man accused of voyeurism. Police say that man went into the women's locker room at the Furstenberg Community Center, pulled a towel off a woman who was changing her clothes, and then ran off. The victim says she saw the man before the attack holding a cell phone in the hallway. If you know who this man is, take a good look. You're asked to call Vancouver police.
There are also new details in a homicide investigation happening in Hawkinson and Clark County. Investigators say a man found in a shed dead on the property was shot to death. They identified him today as 34-year-old Raymond Brandon, and we know he didn't live at the home there where his body was found. But that's all we know at this point. Police still working to learn more about the case. We also know nobody has been arrested.
We're also learning new information after a 16-year-old is hit by a car. The driver on the run tonight. This happened in Gresham near the intersection of Stark and 202nd. 16-year-old Alyada Perez was walking in the crosswalk when she was hit, left for dead. Now we're hearing from one man who spotted her on the road and stopped to help.
If we hadn't stopped and blocked off that road, it would have only been a matter of time before any one of the vehicles behind us had run her over.
Tonight, Perez is recovering up at OHSU. Her injuries include punctured lungs, a broken leg, pelvis, and internal bleeding. If you saw anything, if you know anything about this hit and run, you're asked to call police. A teenager with autism fighting back tonight after being uninvited to an educational trip.
15-year-old Nico Boscovich entered an essay contest that was sponsored by the Peninsula Oddfellows in North Portland, and he won. So as his prize, he was supposed to attend the United Nations Pilgrimage for Youth in New York this summer, but the National Board for the UN Pilgrimage has now denied him as a delegate. The family says there's been no explanation from the national group, only that chaperones aren't allowed, and his mom thinks, and she's arguing that she's not Nico's chaperone, she's his interpreter.
It's disappointing as a parent, but you know, when Nico and I talked about how to approach the uninvitation, if you will, you know, he said he wanted to fight it.
An attorney with Disability Rights Oregon says it appears to be a blatant case of disability discrimination, and they have sent a letter to the National Board demanding an explanation.
Next, a fiery explosion in the heart of a big city. Find out what sparked this.
Plus, Portland's new mayor puts out his first budget, and he's looking to slash one program that many cops fought to save.
Cloudy and a little sprinkly today. I'm tracking more rain for your Tuesday, but a huge warm up after that. How warm it gets, my forecast next.
Then on The Late Show, Chris Pratt and recapping President Trump's first 100 days.
Oh, I love your show.
I love your show too. It's hilarious.
You're watching KOIN 6 News, watching out for you. An underground explosion caught on camera. This happened in downtown Toronto in Canada. You can see the plumes of smoke shooting from the underground electric utility area. No one was hurt and no one lost power. We found out tonight a blown transformer is to blame. Well, aiming to tackle the biggest issues plaguing Portland, Mayor Wheeler now has released his budget proposal.
He says that he prioritized based on some of the biggest complaints, so a large chunk of the budget is dedicated to fixing roads and tackling homelessness. It now allocates more than $25 million to beef up housing, diversion programs, and homeless shelters.
My budget adds 4 park rangers to patrol the Springwater Corridor and parks in East Portland. We're investing another $1 million of city funds to remove trash, needles, and semi-permanent structures.
The mayor is also looking to cut up to $15 million, and one of the programs on the chopping block, Portland Police's Mounted Patrol. But remember, the budget still needs a final approval.
Well, work on the MAX lines continue to impact commuters on the red, blue, and green line. Stops between Providence Park and the Rose Quarter are now closed. This morning, TriMet had several workers out pointing riders in the right direction to shuttle buses.
I just kind of spoke with the inspector over there and kind of figured out which station to go to.
There was definitely a big push to make sure that we had enough people on the street.
And a TriMet spokesperson says things went pretty smooth this morning, but you'll need to remember to plan extra time if you're using TriMet for the next few weeks during this massive construction project.
They're saying upwards of 45 minutes even. And in addition to the MAX improvement project, work is set to begin on the Burnside Bridge. Crews will be working to fix the underside, so it probably won't affect traffic just yet. But come November, as work on the Morrison Bridge wraps up, crews will start working on the top side of the Burnside Bridge. Crews will also be looking to see how the bridge can be improved to better withstand a potential earthquake.
Well, tonight, city leaders are blaming U.S. Bank for not maintaining a so-called zombie house it owns. The city started cracking down on abandoned homes in disrepair last year. The city says this particular bank owned a home along Southeast Powell that continues to cost them money. It has liens against it for code violations and other charges that now top $100,000. The city tried to auction it off last month, did not get a single bid. Our media partners at the Portland Tribune reached out to U.S. Bank, didn't get a response. You can read more about the zombie home issue in tomorrow's edition of the Portland Tribune.
Okay, Kristen is here now. It wasn't a terrible day out there, a little gray, a little wet.
Yeah, and most of the wet weather held off until after the sun went down, and even the light rain, it's been kind of steady the last half hour to 45 minutes or so, but even that is still very light and pretty easy to manage. Temperature-wise, though, boy, were we off the mark today. 54 the high. Our normal high this time of the year, 65 degrees, so well below that. Low 50s for the coast and Central Oregon, topping out in the upper 50s. A look at today, and again, it wasn't a terrible day. It wasn't quite as pretty as it was this weekend because we didn't get the sunshine going, but we did stay pretty dry for most of the day, and now it almost looks foggy out there, and that's from that misty rain that is set up over the metro area, and we'll continue to see that on and off as we head through a lot of the evening. Temperature-wise, we're in the upper 40s right now. We may see the temps fall maybe another degree or so. Dew point's at 48, so we'll have a tough time going below that. But do keep in mind that the visibility may get reduced just a little bit as we continue to see this really light rain moving on through for the rest of the night. Overnight lows tonight in the upper 40s for most of us, and as far as the showers are concerned, it'll continue to stay pretty wet at times as we head through the evening hours. But again, wet in the form of just drizzly, light, sprinkly rain, and the radar even having a tough time picking up on all of that at this point. A wider view of what's happening, and you can see the next system trying to brew here. This is going to bypass us to the north, but we still have this moisture pushing into our state, and so into Washington too, and so that's going to continue to keep the chances for rain around, especially as we go through tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow could be a little wetter than today, but I still think we'll find ample dry time. Here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. We wake up in the morning, it'll be cloudy, it'll be gray, maybe a little misty rain in the morning. We go into the afternoon, best chances for showers will be in the early part of the afternoon. Highs tomorrow still below normal in the upper 50s to low 60s. So as we continue through the rest of the night, some sprinkling rain will be possible. Tomorrow morning we wake up, we'll have scattered light rain around, and then we'll find some dry time for the afternoon, still looking pretty gray, and then we'll have these hit or miss showers that pop up as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours. Still don't think we're going to see a whole lot of intense rain from this at all. And then we get to Wednesday, and it may start off cloudy, but it's going to finish sunny, and boy, will those temperatures go up. Wait until you see how warm it gets around here. So we have one more day below normal. Highs in the low 60s for your Tuesday. East of the Cascades, not enough moisture here. Will stay dry with partly sunny skies. Upper 50s for the coast. Here's your 7-day forecast. So we'll go from highs today in the 50s to highs tomorrow in the low 60s. And remember how we haven't even hit 70 degrees this year. We may just bypass that altogether and go straight to the 80s. Wednesday, Thursday, there's that chance for maybe an afternoon shower after all the warm weather, and then of course we'll change things up as we wrap things up and go into the weekend. But talk about going from one end of the spectrum to the other. You know, we haven't even hit 70, and we're just going to go straight to the 80s now. Yeah. We're not going to know what to do with it.
20-degree difference.
Huge
That's incredible.
Difference for 2 days too. So if you like it warm, get ready. It's about to get hot. If you've been complaining about the chilly, you're about to be complaining about the heat.
That's me. I look forward to 81.
I know. Thanks, Chris. Go figure, right?
Still ahead, the NFL draft is over, and how did the Oregon Ducks do? How many went into the NFL? Not so much. Stan has that news when we come back. Here's a big deal. The polls are out. The experts have spoken.
The Oregon State baseball team, consensus #1 in the nation.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah,
right.
That's
for
important.
the 6 consecutive weeks. So that's really cool. This is really a big deal. Oregon State, they rank first nationally in ERA. They have the top 3 pitchers in earned run average in the conference, and 2 of them are in the top 5 nationally. Jake Thompson, he went 8 innings on Sunday against USC, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, and a career high 11 strikeouts. The Beavers came back from their first home loss of the season on Saturday, and yesterday after a 6-run 8th inning, OSU beat USC 10-1. Oregon State has won all 7 of their Pac-12 series this year and 9 consecutive going back to the 2016 season. Oregon State will play the Ducks tomorrow in Corvallis. First pitch is set for 5:35. Okay, the NFL draft was last weekend, and not a single player from the Ducks football program had his name called, and that's the first time since 1985. But it looks like head coach Willie Taggart and his staff, they are working really hard to get that changed. The Ducks played their spring game this weekend, and since then, 7 recruits have verbally committed. There's 8 total commits. 6 are 4-star recruits or better. Now, right now, the Ducks have the 12th best recruiting class in the nation and second in the Pac-12 to the Huskies. These recruits are from Florida, North Carolina, Colorado, California, and right here in Oregon. That's a hard-working staff to get all that done in just a few months they've been there. They'll need to keep up the momentum because, as we all know, these are just verbal commits. And be sure to join me every Sunday for Game On. I'll break down your weekend sports. Game On Sunday at 11:35. I have a little bit of fun and play around, and we usually find something.
Let's hope the Ducks get their spark back this season.
They will. I think they're going to. I think there's a lot of momentum building. I think Coach Taggart's doing a nice job.
All right,
Sam. We'll be right back, everybody.
Caught on camera, a cat in London takes an unexpected dip in the River Thames. You can see Felix the cat charging out from behind a building, chased by another cat before tumbling into the water. Felix belongs to the Royal Docks Management Authority, so a dock worker climbed over the fence, hung over the edge of the dock, helped Felix, pulled her to safety. Felix wasn't hurt, just embarrassed, and then walked away.
Sauntered away.
Yeah, sauntered away.
Here's one of my favorite stories because I just love looking at the gowns. It's been called the East Coast Oscars and the Super Bowl of fashion. The Met Gala is haute couture's hottest ticket. NFL star Tom Brady and his wife were the event's official hosts, along with singers Katy Perry and Pharrell Williams. Now, get this, tickets go for $30,000 each. The guest list typically tops out at $600 or less. So that's Rihanna there, a singer. The outfit of the night, apparently. She stole the show in a red gown that resembled a flower in bloom. So that's sort of the point of this, is you wear very sort of off-the-wall type stuff that is very coutured as well.
Now we want to give a special shout out to some of our fellow co-workers. Cole Miller, Andrew Dimbert, Trevor Alt, and Joseph Dames. They bowled together on a local Sunday night league, and this past Sunday, yesterday, they won their tournament right there. Congratulations to the guy. They said, how did they do it? They said, Andrew has the style. If you remember the old Flintstone cartoons, they call Andrew Barney Rubble. And Andrew goes down there, tick, 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 and
little
just
tiptoes.
gets that ball. Yeah, and they said that was the key, was that style of Andrew Dimbert that got there. But anyway, they're number one. Congratulations. They're great reporters, just great co-workers.
Yeah, you know, and they worked on this last year. They finished like 4th.
Yeah,
so they came back. I love it.
That's the point, yeah.
Hey, don't be bowling Wednesday, Thursday. Get outside. Temperatures in the low 80s. You're going from the 60s to the 80s. It's exciting.
Oh, a fantastic late show up next. You won't want to miss it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.